That is amazing. Oh my god. Wow. So before, after, before, after. Is AI retouching replacing retouches when it comes to photography? Well, if you've read everything and you've seen everything in the news, you would probably be, a little bit skeptical yourself in terms of when it comes to AI and photography. But I'm going to be looking at a piece of software today that is tailored towards potentially helping people who do portraits, weddings, as well as headshots retouch images a lot quicker. What is this software we're talking about today? We're talking about Evoto AI. Full transparency, Evoto AI did reach out to me and asked if I would like to test out this software. And what you're seeing here now is going to be my first time reaction to actually using the actual software. They have also kindly given us a discount code that you guys can look up in the description below, where you can go and actually try out the software for free and also use 30 credits. I will talk more about the credits towards the end so you know how that actually works. Let's get into the computer and have a look at the software. The software you can also download. As far as I can see, you can download a desktop version. It works for both Macs as well as Windows. So this is what it will look like when you first open it and you've signed up, etc. It not only uses raw images, it can also use TIFF as well as JPEG images. So in terms of the layout, when you come to it, it will look like this. So what you then do is you simply come in, give your project a name. So I'm going to put Evoto test and hit save. And then I can either drag or drop, or I can click here and I can go find the images that I have prepared. So I've got 7 images here, all raw files. So we're going to open these. So the layout of the actual software, on the left hand side you've got your built-in presets. So these are presets that were created by the guys over at Evoto. So these are all built in and this will come with the software. You've got a couple of different icons on the top here. You've got a handhold, you've got a liquefy tool, and you also got a healing tool on there, so you can go in and manually heal as well, which is good because if you're familiar with the likes of Photoshop, some of these stuff will look very familiar to you as well. So that's on your left hand side, and then on the bottom you've got your strip with the images that you've actually uploaded, so you can see all the images. You can star rate them as well if you wanted to. So on the right hand side of the actual panel, on the top you have got your color. So this is very similar to the likes of Photoshop and Lightroom. You can make adjustments to the color, the temperature, the tint. You can set white balance, all of that stuff, highlights, contrast, blacks. So very familiar sort of layout here. Lens calibration, color calibration, get grain, which is a new part of the software they've added recently. You got detail, color grading, HSL, pretty similar to the likes of Lightroom as well as Capture One. And then on the second tab you've got your portrait retouches. So this is where you can go in and manually do a few and manually retouch your actual portraits. And then on the bottom of that you then got your sky replacement tool and your background replacement tool. So this is where you can go in and replace backgrounds. And then finally down there you've got your crop tool, so you can straighten and crop your images as you like. So first of all, let's start with, I'm going to come in a little bit tighter here. It's also important to note that you will see the Evoto logo across all the images. This is going to be there regardless if you have the paid version, but you can use the software for free. This, however, does go away when you export your image, and that's where the credit part comes in, which I'll explain when we get to that phase of the actual software. So in terms of the actual color and the lighting of this image, I'm pretty happy with the color I got straight out of camera. This is a a TIFF file, I think. No, this is a DNG file, so straight out of a Sony camera, DNG file. So I'm pretty happy with the color of it. Can make a little tweak, or I can go and do like an auto and see what that does. But again, that auto, I'm not a big fan of that auto because I think it makes it too warm. So I will go back to as shot. I prefer this. Maybe lowering the highlights a little, perhaps. So if you bring our highlights down a little, let's see. So if you click this button here, you go before, after, before, after. That kind of just limits the highlights a little bit. So you'll see a little bit more detail in this sort of area here. So before, after, before, after. So you see a little bit of detail there. I don't really do any crazy sort of like edits when it comes to my basic panels anyway, so it's pretty standard. Maybe drop our blacks a little, just give it a little bit of a punch. Saturation, vibrance, I'm not going to mess with that, and I'm going to bring my contrast up a little, but that's it. So this is when we go into the meat and potato of this actual software. So we'll go into the portrait retouching part. And if you look at the portrait retouching part, on the top here, you'll see it's got a part where it basically can work out whether it's a male, a female, a child, elderly, or a single. So single meaning if you are retouching a photo where there's multiple people in there, you can go in and pick everyone individually and then work on each face individually. So that's really helpful. So I really like that. That's a very good positive with this software, is that it can actually recognize an individual in the image. So the first tab you will see is your blemish removal. You then got skin retouching, face reshaping. We will talk about that. This is another subjective thing. It's not something that I personally use in my work, but it's available if you need it. You got your teeth touch up, you got your eyes. We will whiten eyes here and there depending on if it's needed. Obviously you will whiten teeth. Sometimes a client will ask if you can, whiten my teeth a little bit, so that's something you can do. And then you also got full body reshaping. That's another tool that personally it's not something for me, but it might be something that one of you guys might be interested in. But so you know that it's here and it's available. So you start off with your blemish removal. So if we zoom in really tightly, you will see that our model has a few blemishes and a few spots on her face, acne on her face, that we can get rid of. So we will, good thing about this is sliders. I really like that it's sliders, and you can slide that effect. So if we slide our freckle and acne and see what that does, wow. Wow, that is amazing. Oh my god, wow. So before, after, let me bring this in. Wow, that is insane. I feel like that's it. I would be happy with just that as a retouch. I'm done. Like, that is absolutely insane, and it looks so natural. Oh my god. And that's on 90. If I take that all the way to 100, let me see what it does. That is insane. Look at this area here as well. If I turn that on and off, we'll keep it at 100. It does have a face mole removal. Obviously this is something, it's subjective as well. Why would you want to remove someone's mole? It's something that is part of the actual face. It's part of the identity. So ideally I wouldn't remove a mole, but if your model had a mole, it will remove it. But there's no actual mole on Emily's face, so if we turn this on and off, it's not going to really make any difference. Right, the next one is body blemishes. So I'm assuming that if you are working with something where there's much more skin showing and there's any blemishes on the body, it will remove that. Let's see what it does if we try and push that. Okay, so it did pick up something just under her neck. So if we go before and after, so And I think that was an actual mole. So what I'll do is, I don't want it to completely remove it, so I'm gonna leave that as that. But again, if you push it all up, you'll see the before and the after. Wow, that is absolutely insane. But yeah, so we'll bring that back to normal. The next slider you have is your face removals, face shine. So it remove any shine in the face. So if we bring that all the way to 100, just pay attention to this area here just above her cheekbone. Wow, that does actually do a really good job. That is insane. But we'll bring it down. We're not gonna take it that high. We'll keep it pretty, yeah, we'll keep it pretty low. So yeah, so that removes some of that shine in that area there. So if you look before, after, it's absolutely insane. This is just blowing my mind. Absolutely insane. So we'll bring that to about 50. I would say I'll be happy with that 50. You've got forehead wrinkle removal. So if your model had wrinkles, let's see if we push that. Emily doesn't have any wrinkles. Come on, she's young, so she doesn't have any wrinkles. But if your model did, this will do that. So if we push that all the way, let's see. So you see, it doesn't really make a difference with this shot because, as you can see, Emily doesn't really have any wrinkles. Eye wrinkles, again, it's another subjective one. Emily's quite young, so she doesn't have any eye wrinkles, so remove that. Dark circle, this was one of those ones when I first looked at the software online. This was one of those that I was very excited about trying out, because this is something that's very common in pretty much everyone you photograph will have dark circles just underneath our eyes. So I'm excited to see what this actually does. So if you look right around here, and I'm going to drag this slider up slowly, see what that does. So if we go all the way to 100 and then turn on and off, it really does like a really subtle job just around here. Emily doesn't have a lot of dark circle on there because she had her head slightly higher into the sun, so again, light filled in the shadows there, but we'll keep that all the way up. Smile lines, so it can basically, I'm assuming, reduce the smile lines, so whenever you smile there's like a little dark sort of patch that happens here. So if we pump that up, let's see what it does. Again, it doesn't really do much for Emily, so we'll keep that low because again, that doesn't do much. And you got neck wrinkles, so if we pump that up, let's see what it does. Oh, pay attention to sort of like the neck area here. So if we go all the way to 100, it completely removes that. So before, after, does a really good, oh my god, I'm actually blown away. It does a really good job as well. But again, I like to keep it, like, I don't want to, completely change the model and the model feature. She's twisted. There will be folds in the neck there, so I'm not going to remove that because she's actually turned kind of away from camera. So we will keep it around the 50 mark. You will see I'm a half measure type of guy as we carry on. Next is double chin. Again, Emily does not have a double chin, but just for work, just for trying out purposes sake, it does do something really weird there with thing, but hey, it gets rid of it. Double chin if needs be, but Emily doesn't have it, so we are going to keep that at 0. Again, use what you think is right. You don't, not because the software give you a load of stuff means you need to use every single element of that software to actually get a really good result at the end. So far we're looking really good. So if we zoom out and we go before, after, before, wow, after, that's insane. That is mad. So we'll come back in so you guys can actually see what it's doing to the face, because so stomach stretch marks, again, Emily's not actually showing much skin on here, so we don't need to actually use any of those sliders, but they're both available here. So your double chin and your stretch marks is available in that blemish removal panel. So if you wanted to use it, you can go ahead and use them. So our next panel is our actual skin retouching. So the first slider, you've got smooth face skin, or basically dodge and burn. So this is something obviously you're used to in something like Photoshop, so you can dodge and burn here. So if we push that slider, let's see what it does. I use dodge and burn for a lot of my work, so it's good to see that you can do this with just one slider. Let's see, let's go before. Okay, that already looks good. I think that dodge and burn has done an amazing job in terms of like smoothing out this area here, between light and dark. So if we pump that all the way up, so you can actually see, so it smooths out that area. It does also smooths out the skin with that, but it maintains a lot of the actual original texture, so that is fantastic. Again, I'll probably keep it, somewhere where I'm happy. I think 75, maybe 80. Let's go 80 for this one. I'll be happy with that. Face smoothing, skin smoothing, you can literally make a face look plastic if you wanted to, but also I think that kind of looks a little bit unnatural. I am not a big fan of the plastic look, so if you wanted to, you can do that. So I would say maybe 10% of that, where I still maintain a lot of the like natural textures on here. Really love that. That is amazing what that does there. That is insane. That already looks wow. So that's the before and that's the after with all the adjustments we've made so far. Wow, that's insane. So yeah, we'll keep that pretty low because we don't want to do any crazy retouching. The next one is body skin smoothing. Again, Emily's not really showing a lot of skin here, so there's no point in us actually using that part of software. So we're going to be focusing mainly on the face and maybe do a bit of change with the sky as well. So we're not going to touch that one. The next one is rosy complexion. Okay, so that just changes the overall complexion of her skin. So if you go all the way to 100, so you can see it makes everything kind of red. Again, that's not necessarily for me. I prefer the look I've got here now, but just for thingy, let's add a little bit. So just add a little pop of red, again around that 10 mark. Happy with that. Body unified complexion, or unified body complexion. I'm assuming you can, okay, so this will make the entire body look pretty similar. If I pump that all the way, how does that look? Okay, so it kind of brightens up the neck a little bit there. So if you look in this area here, so I think for me 100% would be too much in this case. So maybe, yeah, I'm blown away. I'm absolutely blown away. So your next part of the actual skin retouching is skin color, and you've got these different sort of preset things here where you can press and change the actual color of the skin, and then you've got an amount slider, so you can go really strong or very light depending on what you want, or no skin retouching at all. Then you've got a temperature control. Yeah, this will just change the actual temperature. I do like how this is only changing the temperature of the actual skin, so you can make it really blue or really saturated depending on what you want. If you double click on the actual temperature, that will reset everything. So your next panel is your face reshaping panel. Again, you can go in and get absolutely crazy with this, like wow. Yeah, you can do some crazy things, but again, I am not going to mess with that. You can actually change the eyebrows, you can change the shape, the size, the distance, the arc, the tilt. Oh my Jesus, That is crazy. But of course, we are not going to do all of that. But if this is something that you want to do, go ahead, by all means, fill your boots. Try it out, it's all there. So you've got your face shape, eyebrows, eyes, nose and mouth. So on your face reshape or reshaping tool, you can do all of those stuff, but again, I am not going to mess with that. Teeth touch up, you can do a bit of teeth whitening if you wanted to. Again, we can rarely see Emily's teeth, so I don't think it's really important in this aspect, but if you wanted to, you can do it. Again, it's very, very minimal. So if we go click on that, before, after, before, after. Okay, so you go before, after. So yeah, you can make pretty teeth. What does pretty teeth do? Okay, no. Pretty teeth, I'm guessing it just changes the actual person's teeth into an AI version of some teeth that they think will match this image. But again, we're not messing with Emily's teeth in this instant. So that's your teeth touch up. Then you can go to your eyes, you can brighten your eyes. So if we go all the way to 100, you can see it brighten up the eyes a little. So before, after, I think 100 is too much. So again, between 20, just very, very subtle. See, that's the thing, I like to use my software very, very subtly. And then the last two panels, you've got makeup. So guys, this part of the actual software, this is where you go into sort of like makeup area where you can actually change the makeup on the model's face. So if you had a model that didn't have makeup, you can go in to this part and actually make adjustments to the actual makeup and how the makeup looks, etc. This part is quite subjective, so if you wanted to, you can, you know, add makeup after the fact. So even if you had a model who didn't have makeup on the shoot, you can actually use this area to actually add makeup. This is not something I'll use for this particular image, but there are a couple of different presets that you can actually go in and use there. You know, you can change the makeup on the eyes, you can change your eyeshadows, you can change your eyebrows, you can do a fair bit in this part of the actual panel. But for this particular image, I'm not going to do any of that, so we'll just skip this area and head on over to the next one. So guys, this part of the actual panel, this is where things can get really crazy really quickly if you're not careful with this type of software. You can do some absolutely crazy thing here. You can change the model's body shape, you can change the model's head size, waist. There's so much things you can do with this particular panel. Again, I am not someone who tends to do this type of stuff, so this panel isn't necessarily something that I would use, but it is available if you guys want to use it. You can go in there and make some really, really drastic changes to the actual model's body. Again, it's super subjective. It's not something I would do, but if you guys want to use it and want to do that, you're more than happy to use it and do that. So what I would say is I will just leave this as is, and I'll just move on to the next phase of the actual edit. So this final part of the actual panel is where you can go in and do changes such as like background removal. So if you wanted to, you know, change the background color, a solid color to like a different color, you can do that here. You can even take your subject off the background and do it transparent as well as obviously change your sky as well. So if you wanted to replace your actual sky in the image, you can do that here. It does do a really good job. This is the area of the actual software I think will need a little bit more work, and over time will get better. I do find that this it does have a tendency of not finding, especially hairs and fine areas. It can make a few mistakes here and there, but it does do a really good job in terms of your starting point. So yeah, this part of the software is, it's again subjective. I'm happy with the sky and stuff that I got with my image, so ideally I will keep it how it is for this particular image. So the final tool on your right hand side is your crop tool. So this is where you can go in and rotate your image if you wanted to. You can go in there and do any sort of like cropping that you would want to do ready for your final export. So yeah, let's go into the final part of this actual software, which is probably one of the most impressive part, which is the fact that you can actually create presets. So once you've done all your final images and you're happy with the edits, etc., that you've done on your images, you can then go back in there and like create a preset and give your preset a name. And then what this enables you to do is that if you've got like a batch of images that are very similar, you can then apply that preset across the board, across all those images that were shot in the same sort of lighting setup and lighting scenario. What I like about the preset part as well is you can add and subtracting from the preset, so you can actually modify the preset and only add what you want the software to add as a preset. So you can take off things such as the crop, etc. So that is a massive plus when it comes to this software, and that is one of the things that really impressed me about the end product, is that the fact that once you've applied the edits to one image and you've got a series of images that were shot under the same lighting scenario, in the same setup, in the same situation, you can just use the preset to apply it across all those images. So that's a really good plus. Once you've done create your presets and you're all happy with your images, the final stage is basically exporting. So once you're done with all your adjustments, then all that's left to do is click on the right hand top where it says export, and you pick a place where you want to export the images. What I do like about the software is that it will then create a folder. It will create a folder roughly in the same area where you actually originally got the images from. So we'll create a sidecar folder, but you can actually manually go in and adjust this and make changes, if you wanted to give it a specific name, etc. So it will create a folder in there, but you can also go in and create your own folder, and then all you do is then click export, and that's it. You're done. You're ready to upload your images, and from that export you've now officially used one of your actual export credit, and that's it. So guys, let's quickly look at the pricing structure that Evoto has. Like I said at the beginning, it works on a credit sort of like structure, where one credit equal one photo, if that makes sense. To get started, you get 5 free credits, so you can export 5 free images so that you can actually test the software out. But Evoto has also given us a link to share with you guys where you can actually get 30 free credits, so you can actually play around with the software with different types of images that you may have, to actually get an idea whether this is going to work for you. So if you look at the pricing structure, you've got your basic, your standard, and as you go up in tier, you also get a little bit of savings as well. What I do understand is that you can also roll credit over. So if you didn't use everything, you can roll it over to your next sort of like subscription, which is good. And also says here that credits, one credit works out at basically 6 cents, which is probably about 2 to 3 pence here in the UK, so which is absolutely crazy. So
having 1200 credit is a decent amount in terms of a great starting point. And if you need more, you can obviously purchase more. And going back to the point I made at the beginning, this software is not designed for people who are beginners or amateurs. This software is designed for people who make money from photography and retouching. If you've got a large amount of work coming in and you make a lot of money from that, then something like this is gonna speed up your workflow and be able to actually work so fast that you can actually potentially deliver images to your clients the same day. It can help you in that regard. So I'm not saying that you should go out and purchase it, but what I do advise is to give it a go using the link in the description below. Get those 33 credits, give it a go first and see what you think before you actually commit to purchasing anything. So yeah, give it a go and let us know what you guys think. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.